cherry, grape, right? Brighter, subtler. Okay. Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, we're cupping Overland Coffee. Seen this everywhere on my IG. Had the opportunity to go to some overlanding rig event thing for my husband. Dragged me along and I was like, meh, because I never leave this house. But I was very happy to because they had some coffee here, Overland Coffee. Picked up the Northwest blend. Their notes are tobacco, mandarin, and berries. The varietals are washed and also mixed varietals. The origins are Central America, pretty broad there, and then Papua New Guinea. Okay, so we have some sort of like, off the top of my head, if I'm like a consumer, I'm deciding which one do I want, right? I asked a gentleman there, I said, hey, which one's the more exciting one? So both of them weren't light roasted, more along the lines of this being a light medium and the other one being a straight up medium, a true medium. And the gentleman there told me this guy's the more exciting one of the two. Maybe not super exciting, but the more exciting of the two. And it just so happened that he was also a fellow hot top user and actually watched some of the videos. So, hi, James. So thank you, James. Shout out to you. Made a new friend. I'm going to cup this coffee today. What is the roast date here? No roast date on the bag, but most commercial places that are selling their coffee commercially or just trying to move hella coffee, you typically won't find a roast date. Now, is that always a bad thing? Not particularly, because it kind of just depends on the context. The context is I'm here with a small batch roaster, not as small as me, bigger than me for sure, but is trying to move their coffee, and maybe it's just not conducive for them. Could be a time suck to put a roast date where it's already maybe understood that they roast and sell fresh coffee. Is this true? We're going to taste it. We're going to find out. How fresh is this coffee? Can I taste that? I don't know. And we're going to put it up against a maybe not the freshest coffee, but for sure, you know, like once I roast, I put it in the bag. I haven't kind of really touched this. This is Guatemala. So I'm going to cup the sort of Central American, Papua New Guinea, kind of more, you know, subtler in their acidity. It shouldn't be a lot of acidity in the cup. Against this one, not a lot of acidity in the cup, and see how they fare against each other. Okay, just for a comparison. It's always nice when you cup coffee, even for fun, just to have some kind of control or comparison to. I think it makes it more, it gives the information of the new coffee that you're trying to taste a little bit more of a standing. You're like, okay, I've had this coffee, I have this new coffee. Where do I place it in my brain? My catalog of coffees that I've cupped or tasted, okay? It's just going to help you, I think, in sort of like building your cupping and your tasting palette, build that palette of knowledge that you have. Let's get some water on these guys. Jimmy is a short name for James, or a nickname of James, isn't it? I felt like you told me Jimmy when I was talking to you at the booth. So when we're looking at a blend, it's also cool to see a real like blend of different, you know, coffees, different varietals when you're looking at a blend. So some of them are a little bigger than the others. Some of them are roasted darker than the others. Roasted at a very like, I'd say like James said, a light medium. The color is there, but they're not puffed up too terribly. You know, the face of the bean is pretty flat still, so not super puffy. Pretty flat, still chaff intact. They definitely look washed. And yeah, just some like, you know, validations as you're seeing. Again, building that catalog of knowledge as you try different coffees and you keep cupping different coffees. So if we don't know the varietal, it's washed and mixed varietals. That's not very helpful. If I'm trying to catalog, well, Cat Timor tastes like this, Cat Touai tastes like this, Bourbon tastes like this, SL28 tastes like this, right? So that's something I'll have to, you know, just be a good student and follow up on my own. Central America, Papua New Guinea. Okay. Looks like a solid, like, 50-50 blend to me. There's some big ones in here, and there's some little ones in here. I would not be surprised if this was a pre-blend roast, just because of a lot of differences in color, right? So, but maybe it's, you know, when you guys are making blends, that's something to consider. Like, is this coffee cool if I pre-blend it and roast it together, you know, as a blend? Or do I go ahead and roast them separately each and then blend them? Because maybe one coffee is very fickle and it needs a little bit more, you know, I don't know, specific handling in the roaster, and you can't handle maybe roasting them all at the same time. But you know what? It's all about what's in the cup, right? So there is no there is no one way. You've got to taste and go, hey, this is better pre-blended. Oh, actually, no, it's actually better post-blended, okay? All right, let's break the crust. Sort of like old raisins. Raisins in rum. Some people ask me, like, do I need to do that? I'm like, no, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything you don't want to do. This is all for fun, you know, people that are going to be tasting a lot of different things, and they need to know for themselves to, I would say, like, validate, like, what the hell am I buying? Why am I paying $19 a bag, $28 a bag, $30 a bag? What are the crazy ones out there? Onyx, where are you at? $200 a bag, right? Why? And I think if you don't validate that with your own taste buds, you're going to feel not only duped, but maybe dumb. You know, it's all for you. It's for your own benefit, you know, whether or not you want to go to this level and take yourself on that journey. It's really up to you, you know, there's no wrong way. Or you can just go, I trust you. It's good. Let me taste it. It's acidic. It's jumping in my mouth. That's good enough. I don't need to pull out berries and cherries and bergamot. You know, you don't have to do it. You can do it any way you like, okay? How you want to enjoy coffee, you can do it any way you like. Get out of here, spam. How much did I pay for this bag of coffee? $17 with tax. That brought me to, like, what? $22? I don't know. I don't look anymore. I'm just like, I gotta get that bag of coffee. The only reason why I would look is I'm getting something maybe over $20 without tax. And then I would be asking myself why. $20, yeah, that's pretty standard, I think, in this level of coffee roasting. Yeah. And this kind of packaging, you know, pretty simple, really simple what I do. Their label's better. But I know a lot of roasters are they're always looking to improve, you know, just as roasters, and people are always kind of geeking out over packaging because you eat with your eyes first. You know, this is very pretty. It's really well done. Really nice. 3 minutes in. Let's give these a whirl. A little too hot right now, but very similar. They're both a little hot right now, but this one's brighter than this one, obviously. I roast a lot lighter and more aggressively. A little bit more sharper, I think, on the finish, how it lingers in the top of the throat and sort of like dries out your throat a little bit. That's what I like. I like that sort of like bite back. It bites me back. This one, more balance. Definitely, I think that's coming from your Papua New Guinea in there. The Papua New Guinea coffees, typically, to me, when I've tasted them, they're sort of cozy. They've got cloves, they've got spices, they've got milk chocolate, dark chocolate, that kind of vibe. Sometimes if you take it to that level, you can get tobacco, as the note is there. I think we may taste that later on. It's a little hot right now. I like to get snapshots or idea of what this coffee is tasting like. Hot, not so hot, cool. Because as the coffee changes, then you get a full picture. You can even go even more minute than that, right? You can get a fuller picture, a more complete picture of what this coffee is going to taste like. And trying to sort of identify what it's doing as it cools just can give you an insight into what your customers also may be kind of going through as it's sitting there in their mug on their desk at work or something like that, right? And we know the coffee drinker is going to spend more time with the coffee with it being cooler than hotter, right? So that's how we can kind of like, okay, what do I do with this information? I want this to be nice and balanced and sweet by the end of the cup, or at the end of the life of this cup of coffee. And so you could take that and be like, am I roasting this too aggressively, too light? Maybe it's bomb diggity at this perfect time, at this little right, time window. But maybe it's not when I take it into the, I don't know, the 14th, 17th minute, right? Those are the things that you can do with the data that you're collecting at the cupping table. The berries is really nice. I could see that. Okay, so the fact that they put tobacco first, because I'm not getting a lot of it, it's just a sort of very effervescent note at this point, a very just like fleeting note. But I wouldn't even put that down if I were putting notes down. It's there, but I have to hunt for it. This is Guatemala, mine, from the La Pia region. I just roasted this for my own personal because it was brighter, it was juicier, it was definitely more citrus, it's definitely more just like high noted. And it's a higher elevation coffee, so I knew I could put a lot of heat on this guy. And yeah, I mean, just sitting there on the top of my shelf there, I had so many coffees to drink from and choose from. I don't get to it all the time. But it has a drying in the back of your throat, sort of like acidity that can be, I think, strong for some people. The berries is there, but like, these are more fresh berries, crushed by hand. These berries have been concentrated, mixed with some kind of sugar, like made into a concentrate, and that's the difference. So we could say berries, right? I would say these are fresh berries. These are more like concentrated jammy berries. And that's how I make the difference in my mind. So if we're trying to learn to become better roasters, become better, we do that by becoming better cuppers, is like, okay, berries, but like what kind of berries, right? I mean, that's at least what I do, because I can't just say berries all day long. I have to be able to identify what kind of berries, what's happening to the berries, how ripe are those berries? Because if I'm going to be and have total control at the roaster to make these changes, I have to know what those changes actually taste like. Even though we don't know how this is roasted. But best believe it's going to be roasted on a bigger roaster. And most likely roasted together. And I think not a very high elevation coffee. I'm taking guesses, and I'm going to look it up later to see if I was right. Roasted together, kind of a mottled color throughout the roast. Yeah, not a very high temperature for the charge. Took it pretty easy with this. I think it wasn't too fast. It wasn't too slow. It was somewhere Goldilocks in the middle. And they came up with this roast and probably dropped it at least 2 minutes. At least. It's creamy too. Whereas this is more black tea. This is more creamy. It's milkier. This is black tea. This is black tea with milk. See the difference? And I know why mine is like this. Black tea, sharper, more at the back of your throat right there. Because I roast fast and I roast hot. And if we look at the coffee, let's see here, compare it to that one. Higher elevation coffee, right? These aren't so. Craggly, Craggly, meaning like you could still, very wrinkly compared to these guys, more puffed up, more smooth. Some craggles in here, a lot of them smooth. Interesting. All right. That was Overland Coffee cupped. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Keep cupping. Be curious. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.